This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Welcome you in here to the news at noon. First things first, it is a Storm Team 6 alert day, and I'm with meteorologist Todd Clausen. And we got to talk about the changes that are happening in our forecast, Todd, and it's a pretty active radar.
Yeah,
today.
look at this. It's been raining throughout much of the morning. It's continuing here to the afternoon, and unfortunately, it's going to continue all the way into your Halloween. We'll talk more about that forecast coming up in just a few minutes. Let's talk about this afternoon and this evening. The rain coming down pretty good on the eastern side of the state here from Richmond up into the Winchester area down towards Connorsville. Some decent rain extends back into the Rushville area and then further to the south, Nashville, Brown County State Park. Not a great place to be, unfortunately, here today. Columbus with the rain, even down towards Bedford and Seymour. We're dealing with a solid batch of rain. As you come to the north, rain's a little lighter and just very dreary conditions from Lebanon to Frankfort, Kokomo, into Noblesville, Anderson, then up towards Peru. So this batch of solid rain continues to push off towards the east. That's the good news. It won't be a complete washout this afternoon. The bad news is there's another wave of rain down to the south that is going to be lifting to the north. So we'll maintain rain chances in this forecast throughout the entire afternoon and into the evening hours. And here is that dreary look that I mentioned. This is from IMS looking back east towards downtown. Can't even see the top of the Salesforce Tower there in downtown Indianapolis. Temperatures are in the 40s and 50s. Now, these temperatures won't really move much more throughout the day. What you have now is basically what you get throughout the afternoon. Here's that fairly steady rain throughout the afternoon hours, and then it'll start to taper off a little bit this evening. It never completely goes away, and then tomorrow we'll add the elements of wind, falling temperatures, and maybe even a few snowflakes. As you can see, this colder air starting to come in by the time we get to 6 o'clock in the morning. Halloween, it's not going to be very pleasant. We'll detail it for you hour by hour coming up in just a few minutes.
Todd, thank you. Well, we do know that some cities are starting to make some changes to their designated trick-or-treating times, and it's all because of that forecast. This morning, the city of Muncie announcing it would delay trick-or-treating until Friday night. If you plan to go out trick-or-treating with the kiddos, we do have a list of trick-or-treat times from all across central Indiana. It's up right now on the RTV6 mobile app and also at the IndyChannel.com. Well, a Noblesville mother has filed a formal complaint against that school district. She says that the district failed to address bullying, racism, and her son's special needs. Call 6 Investigates Kara Kenny has shocking video of a fight that the mom says shouldn't have happened in the first place.
Elijah is a 16-year-old sophomore at Noblesville High School, a native of Alaska. Elijah's mom says her son has endured repeated bullying.
The other football players telling him he should go eat his dog or cat or whatever.
According to this complaint filed Monday with the State Department of Education against Noblesville schools, Elijah's mom has been trying for years to get Elijah special services for his emotional disability. The complaint says Elijah suffers from depression and anxiety and says the district went against the advice of their own school psychologist and denied Elijah special education services.
Frustrating and powerless. As a parent, you feel very powerless.
Things came to a boiling point on September 25th. This video shows Elijah in class talking to another student in a pink shirt.
Down. Do I need to call someone out here?
You guys should kiss.
Damn.
Elijah was expelled from school. Records show video of the incident was used as evidence.
He was in self-defense. It is so clear that he was standing there. He asked this other student multiple times to back up and get out of his face. Back up, back up. You can hear the teacher instructing her to go sit down. And instead of backing down or walking away, she gets into his face, in his personal space. She touched him first. She pushed him. He pushed her back. Then you can see where she swung on him.
Elijah and his mother's attorney, Tom Blessing, says schools have to follow a federal mandate that requires schools to identify and evaluate children with disabilities.
The school had a choice. We can either help the student or punish him.
And if you think about it, it's much easier, right? We'll just kick him out of school and we don't have to deal with him.
Elijah could still face criminal charges for this incident. The formal complaint asked the school to lift the expulsion and develop a proper plan for Elijah that includes services. Kara Kenny, RTV6.
And Noblesville schools released a statement to RTV6 saying, quote, student safety is our top priority and we take physical altercations very seriously. They are a rare occurrence at NHS and are dealt with swiftly and seriously in collaboration with our Noblesville Police Department school resource officers. We have addressed both individuals involved for this serious violation of our code of conduct, end quote. The school district went on to say that while they can't comment on specific allegations due to student confidentiality laws, quote, we can share that we work regularly in collaboration with parents to evaluate and place students in special education services as needed, end quote. Well, this midday, Metro Police continued to investigate a series of shootings that happened all across the city. It includes one that sent a 19-year-old man to the hospital. This shooting happened on Braxton Court that's near 30th and Cumberland Road. Police say the man was sitting in a car when it was sprayed with bullets around 11:30 last night. We're told investigators believe that he was shot somewhere else and then driven to Braxton Court. On the near north side, 3 people were shot on Boulevard Place near Crown Hill Cemetery. Police there were called out to the area around 9:30 last night. Right now, all we know is that someone fired gunshots into the back of a home from an alley. 2 women and 1 man were wounded. All 3 are in the hospital, but they are expected to recover. And then on the northeast side, a homicide investigation is underway after 1 man was found dead inside of his apartment. Neighbors called police to the complex near 62nd and Allisonville Road after hearing a disturbance. Police say the 40-year-old victim was found suffering from some kind of trauma. Investigators on the scene told RTV6 there were no signs of forced entry. Well, it's been an eyesore since its last residents were evicted 5 years ago, and now an apartment complex best known for criminal activity is finally coming down. Today, after years of efforts to get rid of them, the wrecking ball was finally let loose on Oak Tree Apartments that's near 42nd Street and Post Road. This 19-acre property has been vacant due to a court order since 2014, and a judge issued an order to tear it down last year. The City County Council finally approved funding to tear down this complex back in April. Take a look here. Ann is dancing on Mass Ave once again. The Ann dancing structure was reinstalled just a few hours ago and first showed up downtown more than a decade ago, but she was taken down for some upgrades back in May. The Indianapolis Cultural Trail raised more than $200,000 to pay for those repairs. Looking good. Well, you want your money to go to people in need, right? But when you give to a charity, you have to be really careful. Next, we have some tips on how to make sure that the charity you give to is legit. And you may not have known his name, but you probably have seen him doing stand-up or making a memorable appearance in many movies. Today, the entertainment world says goodbye to one of its favorites. Todd.
And Lauren, it's been a wet morning across central Indiana, and that wet weather is going to continue here this afternoon and unfortunately into your Halloween. But it's not all just rain. Some snow does enter the forecast. We'll talk all about it when the news at noon continues right here on RTV6.
Go. New Modern Family tonight on ABC.
It's time now for another RTV6 Consumer Alert. I'm joined by the Better Business Bureau's Tim Maniscalco. And Tim, it is Charity Fraud Awareness Week. So many of us want to give back to organizations in our community, help those who are maybe less fortunate than us, but oftentimes scammers take advantage of that.
Yeah, so this is a message to say that when you do give, you want to be careful, but don't stop giving. You want to do that, just be very, very careful before you give. A couple of things. Number one, there is a lot of charity fraud out there, so you want to make certain that you check out the charity. There's a lot of upstanding charities out there, but you want to just make certain that you check out the charities. There's a lot of fundraising fraud, individual fundraising fraud. You know, you've got these individual sites where you can set up your own fundraising. One thing you need to be careful about that is if someone sets up an individual fundraising account, they probably aren't registered with the IRS as a 501c3, so you really can't take that off on your taxes if they're not a recognized charity. make certain that you are aware of cybersecurity. You know, when you give to a charity, a lot of times they're taking a lot of personal information from you. They do have access to things, so you want to make certain that you protect yourself against that. You want to make certain also that you don't give them a lot of access to your computer and things like that.
Right.
A lot of times that can be a problem. And then keeping your data secure. Once again, you're giving them information. If you send them a check, think about all the information that's on that check. So you want to make sure that they've got things in place where you don't have your information compromised. So just be careful, but please don't stop giving.
Yeah, and always do a little digging maybe before you do donate, just to make sure it is a reputable organization.
Absolutely.
Tim, thank you so much. This has been another RTV6 Consumer Alert.
Meredith, thank you. It's a Hollywood icon, and so is its legendary music score. Just ahead, a special interview on how it could bring some shivers to your Halloween night. We'll be right back.
Elder Law help you get your ducks in a row.
This is RTV6 News at Noon, working for you.
Good afternoon, I'm Chanley Painter. The defense continued presenting evidence this morning in Wisconsin versus Ezra McCandless, and it's expected to rest its case as early as today. On Tuesday, McCandless was grilled on cross-examination by the prosecutor about her inconsistent statements to police. After that, the jury viewed dash cam video recorded by one of the officers who responded to the farmhouse where McCandless ended up after she killed the victim, Alex Woodworth. In the video, the defendant is barely coherent and appears so distressed she couldn't even tell them her name.
She said she walked by me. She don't want to shoot me. Let's say you're in a car accident. No. Can you give me your first name, please? You don't know your first name? No, I don't know. I don't know.
The jury also heard from a defense expert, Dr. Stephen Benson. The clinical psychologist testified that his opinion McCandless has gaps in her memory because she suffers from PTSD. That's the latest. Tune in for Court TV for every development in this trial. Now back to you.
All right, back here at home, we want to take a look outside right now. It is a Storm Team 6 alert day, and you can't see much, Todd, because it is a gloomy, cloudy, rainy Wednesday.
You can say that again. I know what I have planned this afternoon. I'm going to the movies.
Okay, the movies,
matinee
that's good.
show. It's a great day to be inside to check out a film, or as Lauren mentioned, yeah, just take a nap if possible, because the rain is going to continue off and on. Temperatures right now, they sit in the 40s and 50s across the area, and they are not going to warm at all going forward throughout the day. So where is it raining? Well, the heaviest of the rain stretches from Richmond down here into the Seymour and Bedford area. Light rain in Bloomington, Nashville, some heavier rain from Columbus up I-65 through Edinburgh into the Franklin area over towards Greensburg as well. And then Richmond, some pretty good rainfall taking place. And as we go just north of downtown Indianapolis, some light rain from Lebanon to Carmel, Noblesville, and Tipton and Anderson, where it's not raining or showing green on the radar. There's probably some patchy drizzle mixed in. So it's just not a pleasant day for us across the area, but the wind isn't super strong. You notice just off to our west that there is some snow mixed in as well, and some of that snow will make it in here with the colder air once we get into the day tomorrow. You do not have to worry about that throughout the day today. So this afternoon it is a wet one. Have the rain gear handy. It does look like the bulk of what we'll call steadier rain pushes off towards the east, as we get into the evening hours. But again, even this evening, drizzle, some light showers here and there across most of central Indiana, but not a solid rainfall. That changes again overnight tonight into tomorrow morning. So rain chances for your Halloween on Thursday are probably highest in the morning, and then we taper it off as the day goes on, which you would think is good news for trick-or-treating. The problem is we're going to replace the rain with a lot of wind and falling temperatures. So here are your Halloween headlines. It's a very wet morning for us, and then as we get into the evening hours, don't be shocked, especially in northern locations, if you start seeing some snowflakes or ice pellets. Obviously, that's not good, but I think the biggest concern will be the whipping winds as we go into the afternoon hours tomorrow. We'll see some gusts up to 40 miles per hour. So when you take temperatures starting in the 40s and then falling into the 30s, 30s as the day goes on. Then you add the wind. It puts wind chill values that will be down in the 20s. So the day as a whole looks like this. Here's your temperatures starting in the 40s, ending in the 30s. We deal with rain changing to snow. Obviously, if they haven't changed the trick-or-treating hours in your neighborhood, you really need to bundle up. I think the cold and the wind chill will be the bigger story tomorrow evening compared to even the snowflakes or some patchy drizzle that's around. And then here it is, Friday morning, the first freeze of this season. Actual temperatures will be anywhere from about 22 to 27 degrees as we get into Friday morning. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, while it's cold each morning below freezing, the afternoons feature sunshine and highs in the 40s.
It is one of the greatest thrillers of all time, and just in time for Halloween this Thursday, it comes alive again with the score from the film Psycho, performed live as you watch the movie. The Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra is putting on this spine-tingling show, and Kristen Cutler with the ISO is here to talk all about it. Kristen, thanks for joining me.
Hey, thank you for having me.
What a way to spend Halloween evening. It's supposed to be kind of rainy and cold out, so what better way to stay indoors and take part in this event?
Exactly. It's a perfect way to be extra festive this Halloween without having to be out in the crummy weather. So it's going to be a lot of fun. If you haven't been to a film with the ISO before, it is something like you've never seen before. We play the movie on our huge screen in the Hilbert Circle Theater, and the ISO members of our orchestra are on stage performing the score start to finish live in time with the movie. It is just one of the coolest things you can see.
Very cool. Now, obviously, you guys often do movies that are friendly for the whole family, but I'm guessing this is more geared for adults.
Sure. Yeah, you probably don't want to bring the little ones to this. You know, if you haven't seen Psycho, it's not for the tinies.
Yes.
So definitely more of an adult-centered event, but we are just so excited to have this really unique way to celebrate Halloween with a bunch of our friends. So costumes are encouraged.
Okay, good to know.
If you feel like dressing up, by all means, we'll be ready for it. So it's going to be a really fun time.
Might need to take off your witch hat though, so the people behind you
exactly.
can see the
Let's
movie
be mindful.
itself.
Or if you're going Bride of Frankenstein,
yes,
maybe like be prepared to take the wig off.
Yeah, or
during the movie.
sit in the back row. And if people can't make it out Thursday, you were just telling me that you have a number of other movies, not Halloween themed necessarily, this weekend that people can come enjoy somewhat of the same experience.
Right, yeah, the rest of the weekend. So on Friday and Saturday, we have a Pops performance called Cinematic Symphony, and we're going to be featuring movie themes from all different films. We've got Harry Potter, we're going to be doing the Downton Abbey music, The Godfather, all kinds of things you know and love. And each piece is going to feature members of the ISO as soloists. So you're going to get to see some of the folks who might be playing instruments that aren't usually featured as a solo. So that's going to be really fun. We'll even have whistling from our own tuba Anthony Niffen. So it's going to be all kinds of fun stuff.
All right, wonderful. Kristen, thank you so much. All the information can be found at the website on the bottom of your screen. Hopefully you don't get too scared there on Thursday night with the performance of Psycho. Thanks so much, Kristen, for joining me.
And of course, we're looking ahead to your all-important Halloween night forecast. Todd Clausen have the details coming up.
Keller and Keller.
Hey, shut up all that noise. This ain't Soul Train. Where's Don Cornelius with this stiff neck? Hey, you shut up all that noise. I paid $15,000 for this house. Who else is over there? Public Enemy? What's his name? Public Enemy?
Well, John Witherspoon made his mark in comedy, both in stand-up and memorable character roles in dozens of different movies. His career began in the 1960s, and he was featured on a number of 1970s shows, including a regular role on Richard Pryor's variety show. Witherspoon made enduring appearances in movies such as House Party, Boomerang, and in the Friday movie series. He was also the voice of Granddad in the animated series The Boondocks. His family says that John Witherspoon died at the family's home in California. He was 77 years old. Time now for one final check of our forecast, Todd.
And Lauren, periods of rain here throughout the day today. Tomorrow, more rain, but tumbling temperatures tomorrow. Starts in the 40s, ends in the 30s with wind chills in the 20s and wind gusts to 40 miles an hour.
All right, Todd, thanks so much. And thank you for joining us and making RTV6 your choice for news. Come back here. Join us for the news at 5 o'clock. Stay dry. Have a great afternoon.